Okay, let's start the chapter. This is chapter 5, consumer choices. This chapter, what we will be talking about is explain the law of diminishing marginal utility. Will be drive the consumer's purchasing rule that ensure the satisfaction is maximized. Explain how marginal utility theory is applicable to the real world example. Learning objective, part of it would be provide a theoretical rationale for downward sloping demand curve, explain why consumers generally value a product more than the price they pay, and explain why some sellers charge different prices to different consumers for the same product. In general, marginal utility, everybody is practicing that. Say when you are hungry, you will enjoy your first burger very much. As the second burger comes in, you probably will enjoy it, but it's less. As the third burger comes in, you will stop enjoying it, and that's when the marginal utility start diminishing from the first to the second to the third. The highest usually is the first marginal. The highest marginal utility is the first hamburger. And as the fourth comes in, you start feeling sick. So that's the minus marginal utility. So marginal utility, it's an extra or addition unit. You, but so here the marginal means an extra or addition unit. So if you have 5 units, then suddenly you get 6 units. That's 1 unit is a marginal. So it's an extra or additional unit. Utility, it is the satisfaction or a pleasure derived from consumption of a product. We spoke about the hamburger. The marginal utility is the amount of additional utility derived from consumption of an extra unit of a product. So you say you are very thirsty, you drink the first water, and you are happy, but you're not you're still thirsty. The second bottle of water probably will gives you more satisfaction because the first one you were very thirsty, but it's not enough. The second makes you more satisfied. The third one will keep you in a high level of water, but when you start drinking more water, you're gonna feel sick about it. So the marginal utility goes up, and if you in need, but the marginal utility usually is on the top and start declining. Marginal utility or MU, it stands for the change in total utility over the change in the quantity. And the total utility is the sum of marginal utility of each unit. Let's say first hamburger gave you 5 utilities or satisfaction, and the second gave you 4. So the total utility is 9. Now the marginal utility applies when the consumer is behaving rational, really, not just eating for eating. The consumer objective is a maximum satisfaction. The purchase and the consumption take place over a short period of time, and the unit purchase may sometimes be set of items. Now, if we look at the law of diminishing marginal utility, we said that The first water bottle of water gave you 5, the second one gave you 4. Here, the amount of addition utility decrease the successive unit of the product as it's consumed. So if you consume one quantity, you're going to get 45 marginal utility. The total utility is 45. The second one you take in is going to may give you 36 utility. Now you add this to this, 45 plus 36 is 81, or 45 plus 36 is 81. The third one is going to give you alone, standalone is a 25 because you already have used the first and the second one. So extra utility here, 25 plus 81 is a 106. And things goes on like this. So the sixth one is not going to give you any utilities. So 0 plus 139 becomes 139. But the seventh one, when you start, feel dissatisfied about it, it's going to give you minus 6 utilities. So you take 139 minus 6 becomes 133. So the total utility, or TU, increase as decreasing the rate. So, this is a total utility. As you see, it keeps increasing as the decreasing the rate. This is the rate. This is the increasing. But at decreasing, not becomes a minus. That's a different thing. And so TU rises as long as MU is positive. Now the slope becomes 0 when the marginal utility is 0. So when it becomes, when mu, excuse me, reach to 0 here, then it becomes 0. The slope of TU curve is equal to mu curve, as is this declining, but it's equal. So this is once it's reached to the 6, start becomes a negative adding, but is lowering. Excuse me. To understand what we said, is we need to complete which, Michelle's utility for milkshake. She likes milkshake, or he likes milkshake. In France and Europe, Michelle is a male name, and North America is a female name. So as quantity is 1, the total utility we have at 20, but we don't know what's the marginal utility. Definitely, marginal utility is the total utility add together. A marginal utility is the total of marginal utilities added together. So it is 20, so it's probably before nothing being consumed, no original. So here it should be at 20. As we see here, it changed to 35. The difference is 15. So the second one that we consumed gave us 15. And the third one gave us 10. So what we're going to see here is 45, because 10 plus 35 is 45. And because it's 8 here, 45 plus 35. So the calculation is a very straightforward. It's still giving you the amount. And what's into 0, definitely that's what we have is a 0, and then 55 to start diminishing. Now, a rational consumer should purchase the product that yields the greatest marginal utility per dollar spent. So you have $5 and you want to buy chocolate and you want to buy chips. It depends which one will give you more utilities, marginal utility. Whether you feel like to have more chips will make you happier 5 units, but the chocolate will make you happier 7 units, so you go with the chocolate. So the marginal utility per dollar spent, it is marginal utility divided by the price. If mu of a product divided by price of a product is higher than MU of B product divided by the price of B product, definitely you're going to go and buy, consume more A, chocolate and chips. If MU of A product divided by the price of A product is less than MU marginal utility of B product divided by B, price of B, then definitely you will go and buy or consume more B. And this is how we do a rationalized purchasing. Which one contribute more value for the same amount of dollar we spend? So giving the following marginal utilities and the price, which product would a rational consumer choose? Now we have a beer, apple, ice cream, hot dog. Earlier example, we brought the chocolate and the chips. Here, what we have, the marginal utility of apple is 120, but the price is $1.50. On the other hand, the marginal utility is way higher in the beer, but the price is $4. The ice cream is definitely higher than apple, but $2, and the hot dog is also higher than apple, but it's $3. Looking at the marginal utility, you will choose the beer. But comparing the price, dividing by the price, you will select the apple because the apple will give you 80 marginal utility per price per dollar spent. Beer will give you 75, ice cream will give you 70, and hot dog 50. So a rational consumer would choose Apple because it has a highest MU per dollar. That's the rational consumer. So the optimal purchase rules. In order to maximize utility, a consumer should spend her budget so that MU spent on all product is equal. Let's assume you bought a chocolate with your first $5. You still have another $5. Your second choice is not going to be, you're going to say, okay, so I had a chocolate, let me have a chips this time. So you buy the chips. Your third choice might be, you still have another $5. Then you go, well, this gave me 40 utilities. This gave me 30 utilities. The second chocolate will give me 10 utilities, but the second chips will give me 20, so you will pick up the chips. It's which one contribute more utility per dollars. So MU A product divided by P A product is equal with MU B product divided by price of P product and goes on. They should be contributing all together the same level of utilities as a total. Let's look at this. We have what do you call a piece of pastry, which is $4, and we have the latte, $4. We assume here the prices are the same. Now, the marginal utility for the latte is 45. Your total utility is giving you 45, and if you consume one quantity of pastry, you get 64 and 64. So definitely your choice will be selecting which one contributing more utilities. And in this case, we have, okay, I found this on, I'm sorry. Siri. So here, where we are selecting, which one is giving us more utility? We notice that the pastry is giving us more utility. So our first purchase will be pastry because it's giving us 64. Now on the second one, what are we going to look at? we looked at the marginal utility for the second pastry is 52. The first marginal, but for the latte is 45. So we're going to go and purchase the second one pastry because it's giving us more marginal utility. The third one, we notice that is going to give us 40 marginal utility if we buy a pastry. In comparison with the latte, which is going to give us 45. So here, when we switch the choice by going, instead of buying the third pastry, we go and buy the first latte, which is giving us 45 instead of 40. The second, then we wanted to buy which one after all these. We looked, we still have not bought the third unit, which is of pastry, and we did not buy the second unit of latte. So we compare the marginal utility here, and we see this the pastry giving us 40, and the second unit is giving us 36. So we go with a pastry. So the third purchase was a latte. The fourth one is pastry because we are spending $4 each time. And here we got 60, 64. So we wanted to maximize our total utility by selecting the higher marginal utility in each case. So, as we say, it's this first one is 64. The second one, you go for 52 marginal utility. And the third one, because it's 45, you go with a latte. The fourth one is which is $40, 40 marginal utilities, but latte gives us only 36, so we selected the third quantity, 3 quantities of pastry and 1 latte. Now, if we're still looking for to get more satisfaction, now what we have, if we buy a latte, it's going to give us 36, and if we buy pastry, it'll give us 26. So obviously, we'll select latte. And the last one, what's remaining, 26 to 25. So we will select the 26, which is more pastry. And that's how we give us the total utility, it's the highest. So we end up buying 4 units of pastry and 2 latte. Now let's assume here that the prices is not similar. Here the price is latte is a $3 and price of pastry is $4. We're still gonna look at MU per dollar. What's the marginal utilities giving per dollar? That's how we, according to that, we select. So as we said, it's a $3 latte, $4 pastry. Now, so the first one's going to give us pastry 16. The second one give us 15 as a latte. And instead of getting 13 here, 13, we rather to get 15. Now, still we have 12 if we go for the second latte, or we get 13 if we go for the second pastry. So definitely we go with the second. In this case now, what we have in the pastry, if we want to buy 1 more unit, we're going to get only 10. Yet if we buy the second coffee, we're going to get 12. So our selection will be 12, and things we want to maximize our total utilities. The marginal utility theories, there is insight into a consumer behavior. The products with the low income elasticity, like water, food, have the highest initial utility will be purchased first. The more your reaction to the one product you have, it means has a highest utility, like food, water. The rules applies only to the purchasing of products, not to repeated consumption. So for uh, purchasing of the product, not consuming the same, because after you consume something, if you're consuming the same thing every day, your utilities becomes a regular, uh, not the utility, your feeling toward that product becomes a regular, taking things for granted, so there is not much utilities. So not the repeated consumption, it's purchasing of the product. And cannot compare between people. So for some people, beer will give more utility than hard liquor. For others, hard liquor gives more than beer. So that's you cannot compare it between peoples. Could be different in gender, could be different in race, culture, the utility will change. Now, the marginal utility and the demand, they are almost the same, driven by each other, by the demand curve. So the marginal utility will drive the demand curve as the price is quantity consumed is dollars is willing quantity consumed one if the marginal utility the price is 8, but if the price is 10, the Achios is not interested to buy because it's not giving the value or the utilities. So Achio, once it becomes 8, pays 1 because that's how much value it's getting, worth of value of the $8, more expensive, he's not going to buy it. And as the price goes down, he will be buying more and more and more. So the demand curve is driven by the marginal utility of Achios. And if we look at it as a graph, that to get a kilo to buy the first juice, the price will have to drop to $8 because we said if it's $10, it's not buying anything. Then to buy him the second one, the price has to be it dropped. So at $8, he is willing to consume 6, 7, and 8. At $8, he's willing to consume 1 unit. As the price becomes 5, then he's willing to consume 2. As the price becomes a 4, he's willing to consume 3 units. So as diminishing marginal utility results to downward sloping of the demand curve. Because of the diminishing of marginal utility, we see the downward slope, the demand curve. So what's a consumer surplus? And we said that consumer surplus, let's say you are willing to pay at $5 to buy 5 units, but you find that at $4 you're willing to buy 4 units, but you find that at $5 you're buying 5 units, and you don't buy first four at $6, and the last one at 5. No, you buy all these 5 units at the $5. 5 units at the $5. So the excessive benefit that you are receiving from the price, lower the price, is that what you call a consumer surplus. The difference between what a customer is willing to pay and actual price of the product. Now, so the first one, when it is at you're willing to pay $8, $1 at $1, and MU marginal utility is $8. Your marginal consumer surplus is $7 because what's happened is what it's contributing $8 for you, you're buying it at $1.
So your marginal consumer surplus is $7. You're getting more value than the $1. $1. You're getting a value of $8 for $1. So the marginal consumer surplus is a $7. And the second one, your marginal consumer surplus is $5, but you're still paying $1. So the difference is a 4, and 4 plus 7 is and that's the total 11, which is the total, and the third, and keeps going up. So the marginal consumer surplus is the dollar of marginal revenue or the value that you're getting minus the real price. So sometimes you go to a store, you're buying something, you come very happy because you found it cheaper than you're willing to pay for that. So the total consumption surplus is MCS, marginal consumer surplus, 1 and 2 and 3, the total of it. In the graph, the shaded area here above the price line that represent of consumer surplus, because what you're buying it at price of 60 and 10,000, yet you're willing to pay a price of 70, 80, but you're buying all this quantity at 60. So this area is what you call a consumer surplus. For each quantity, the vertical distance between the price and the line and the demand curve represent the marginal consumer surplus. Let's assume you're willing to pay $90, okay, to buy 4,000, and you're willing to pay $2,100 for 2,000. And you went to the store and somebody fooled you with $90 and the original price outside the market on 10,000. You still got a marginal utility of this blue shaded area because what's happened, you were willing to pay here. So you end up really actually in the market is this is the price. So all this supply is called consumer surplus. Now, consumer supplies varies with the elasticity. Now, the more is inelastic, the more the demand, the greater is the consumer surplus. Because when you are inelastic, you show, there is a bigger consumer surplus is happening for you. Now, assuming the partial unit cannot be bought, what is the marginal consumer surplus for each unit bought, and what is the total consumption surplus? Same, the graph is at one quantity willing to pay $10, and the actual price is $6. So you are happier because you saved $4. Now, the second one, you're willing to pay $9, but the actual price, $6. The price doesn't change, it's only $6. So you're happier by a 3 marginal surplus, and goes on until is your marginal surplus is becomes zero to pay, and we're willing to pay $0. But you add the marginal surplus is the total of it is total consumption surplus, which is 10 units. Now, sometimes we see that the price discrimination, you have the elders or Veterans Day, you have Ladies Night, you have something like there is a price discrimination, and why they do that? Why you people suppliers do a price firm do a price discrimination?
Price discrimination is to selling of an identical product at a different price to a different customers. So the older will get a haircut of $10, but the younger get the $15 for a reason other than the cost of the production. Consumers have a different demand for the same product, are therefore prepared to pay different prices. And the bottom line for the firm is wants to maximize its total revenue. So if he gives 10% discount for older people, then he will get higher revenue from that segment, and he kept the same total revenue from younger ones. So the blue shaded shows that the total revenue received with 300 clients at a single price of $6. So this is consumer surplus captured by a theater, say, owner or something. So $6 to 300. The by practicing the price discrimination can still have 300 by $2012. So he schemed for the $12, he managed to sell 200. And if he goes down for other people, he can manage the 300. If and the reason, as we said, they are there to maximize their total revenue and minimize their total revenue. So the producer can theoretically capture some of the consumer surplus because when its the price is higher, people will willing to pay buy that unity, but less people, some selected people would do. So that's the way how they capture some of the consumer surplus. So why we do what's to practice the price discrimination? When can we do that? One must identify groups of customer with a different demand elasticities, separate them from others, ensure that those obtaining the lower price cannot resell the product, and ensure that the seller has control over the price. And we'll explain each one of them separately. Typical practice of the base of price discrimination, you can see the age, we said, the gender, the time of purchase, the time of use, and the volume of purchase. Age, we brought the hairdressers. The gender, we said ladies' night. The time of purchase, you can purchase after 12 o'clock, it becomes more expensive. The time of use, when can you use that product, especially in the service also, and how much amount you're buying, the prices can differ. So demand for haircut from a senior differs greatly that from other customers. And DQ or QD is the quantity demanded by seniors. And if the price is 20, seniors will have one person will come in and have a haircut, and juniors will have nine people will come to haircut. As the price decrease, we know the demand increases and keep increasing. So at the if we selling it at $8, you will have 19 people coming in that they are seniors and 15 people coming in as they are juniors or others. But here where we want to maximize our total revenue. So we separate seniors from others. And if you could only charge one price here, the customer, which price would give the greatest sales revenues? The greatest sales revenue, how you do that? 10, 9 plus 1 is 10, multiplied by 20, 200. And 10 plus 4 14 multiplied by 18. So as we don't distinguish any pricing, when we are selling at $12 a haircut, which will generate a total revenue of 312, because at $12 we'll cut 26 hairs. At $14, we're just going to do a 22. So as a $12, 26 multiplied by 12 is a 320. Total revenue, that's the highest case in these cases below. But if charge the different to each group, how can you maximize the sale revenue? Now, instead of adding 1 plus 9, what we do, now we do 1 multiplied by 2, which is a 20, and 9 multiplied by 2, which is 880, and add them together. And we do that each one. And we select the highest number between them. Then we select the prices. So here what we do is at $10, we see like maximum 16 people comes in, that generates 160. Now, if you go $8, not going to generate 160, you can get less than 160. So you picked it here for the seniors at $10. On other hand, if you do it 18 or 20, your total revenue is $180. So you also stop it at here to 18 or 20, and then you add them together and you become $340. Any other combination will not generate a $340. And that's how you do a price discrimination. So in the end of the chapter, we spoke about the marginal utility and the total utility, spoke about the consumer optimal purchasing rule, the law of diminishing marginal utility and how it rates to a downward sloping demand curve, consumer surplus and how to calculate it, the price discrimination and the condition required. And thank you very much.